Hello, I'm Trent, aka oTradeMark here, and today I'm going to be showing everyone the highly requested updated drop rates for every secret unit in Anime Fighters. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who has supported my YouTube channel over the past year. The channel has nearly 75,000 subscribers and over 9 million views, which is just mind-boggling to think about. Eventually, if the channel gets big enough, I would absolutely love to hire some developers and make a Roblox game of my own. That has been a long-standing dream of mine. So thank you to everyone who is watching this video and everyone who supports the channel, because you are supporting me in my dreams in that endeavor. So thank you. The sponsor of today's video is Raid Shadow Legends, a turn-based strategy game with over 600 champions, jam-packed with things to do such as dungeons, raid bosses, arena, faction wars, and the challenging Doom Tower. The Doom Tower is a series of increasingly difficult battles where you fight a variety of mobs and specialized bosses. So you're going to need a deep roster with plenty of ways to remove debuffs as well as resist the enemy spells. And there's really never been a better time to get started. If you use my link or scan the QR code on the screen to download Raid Shadow Legends, new players will receive a free starter pack worth almost $30 to kickstart your game. You get 200k silver, an XP boost, an energy refill, ancient shards, and the free epic champion Tyrell. You will find these rewards in your inbox in the top right corner of your screen. Once you're in the game, you can find me under the name oTradeMark, and if enough people download the game, we can create a clan so we can do clan battles together. So click on the link and I'll see you there. Okay, so some first things first, let's get this out of the way. A lot of players ask me how I come up with these values, these odds. And I'm not just guessing or pulling this out of thin air. I was sent data mined values, which I then used to make a formula which calculates the probability of getting each rarity. And because that formula accurately calculates the probability of getting common through legendary, which you can see in game, and because the formula matches up with the values that we see in game, I'm 90% positive that it is also accurate for secrets and for divines, the rarities that we can't see the percentages in game. That being said, these numbers are rounded to make the chart easier to read, and it is also very important to understand that these are probabilities. They are odds, they are not pity values. And I get a lot of messages and comments from players who don't understand the difference, or they get frustrated because they open more, they open more than the sheet says they should have to on average, and their friend opens a lot less, so they just think that the sheet is inaccurate. I think this is just humanity in general is pretty bad with probability. Our minds aren't built to really do this naturally. Pity is something that is guaranteed after a certain number of tries. So like mythical units, for example. After you open a certain amount of stars, it is guaranteed that you will get a mythical or a legendary once you hit that pity amount. Whereas probability, it's just describing the likelihood of something happening. So if you have a coin and you flip a coin, there is a 50% chance or a 1 in 2 odds that it is going to be heads. And so you would expect on average, if you flip a coin 2 times, that you would get at least 1 heads. The thing is, though, that's not how probability works, right? You're not always going to flip heads on your second flip. And it wouldn't be that strange if you had to flip a coin 4 or 5 times to actually get a heads, right? Look at it that way. You have flipped a coin over twice as many times as you would have expected to get a heads. But if you got tails 4 times in a row, it doesn't sound that odd, right? It's much harder to comprehend this when we're talking about probabilities that are 1 in 200,000, 1 in a million type odds, right? Because if you have something that is 1 in a million odds and you open twice the expected amount there, you're opening 2 million stars, and it seems like, holy cow, I've opened 2 million stars. That's twice the amount that I expected to open on average to get it. And yet, when it's a coin, it completely makes sense. But when it's a star, it's millions of stars. It gets jumbled up there. So that's what I'm trying to help you guys understand, is that some of you might open significantly more stars than is what is showing on this chart in order to get a secret. Some of you might open far less stars than what is showing, and there's like a bell curve with the majority of you are going to get one around this value. Give or take, let's say 25%, 50%. You're going to get it somewhere within that value, and if you don't, well, then you're either super lucky to get it much earlier, or you're unlucky to get it much later. Okay, let's go ahead and hop right into the chart here. Essentially, you just look up your luck value on the left-hand side and which world you want to open in, and it will tell you the odds of how many stars you need to open on average to get a secret in that particular world. You will notice, like if we look at Super Island, that as your luck increase, your odds increase until about 14 luck, after which if you increase your luck past 14, the odds of getting a secret actually decreases. And that's just due to the way that luck is set up in anime fighters. Every rarity has essentially a multiplier, and because legendary has the highest multiplier, it's the only one that doesn't break past a certain point. But for the most part, that shouldn't matter, because as long as you're opening in the worlds that you should be for your progression, you won't really reach that point at which it starts going down. Just keep in mind that most of the rarities do have kind of a sweet spot. If there is a luck event and for some reason you're like opening in one of the early worlds, you'll just want to kind of keep that in mind. Well, my first piece of advice is that no one should actually be deliberately opening for secrets in the first 10 worlds. So you really shouldn't be opening in any of these worlds to go for secrets. Secrets require a lot of experience to level up, and they take a lot of secret fruits to convert into shiny or to improve their traits. And since mythical and even legendary fighters from the higher worlds are stronger than the low tier secrets, it's better just to push to a higher world before worrying about opening for secrets. That's probably one of the most common mistakes that I see beginners make. They start playing the game, they see players having all these, cool units, divine secrets, shiny raid units, and they want to get those rare units. And I mean, like, if you're just a collector and you just want a unit because it's cool, go ahead. But if your goal is to get as strong as possible, as quickly as possible, then you definitely want to push to the higher worlds before worrying about getting secrets or divines. Now that does bring me to my next point here, is that as you are pushing towards the later worlds, there's a few worlds that you should keep in mind related to divines, because certain divine fighters are only available once you reach certain worlds. So for example, in Lucky Kingdom is the first world at which you can unlock or you can find Mewtwo when you're opening stars. And Mewtwo is a great divine fighter. He's basically the weakest divine fighter that I would recommend investing divine fruits into to convert shiny or to improve his traits. So Lucky Kingdom is one of the worlds that you would want to keep an eye on. It's basically the best value to unlock Mewtwo, and it's also a good world because it's a relatively high world, and it provides decent units even if you were to get a secret or a shiny raid unit from Lucky Kingdom. The next world to keep in mind is Flame City. That's the first world at which you can get Red Badge or Femto, and so it's the best value for that. Plus you still have the ability to get Mewtwo from there and the Flame City secret, so it's overall a good world to look at. And then as we go into the upper worlds, you want to keep your eyes on Icy Wastes, which is the first world in which you can open Endeavor. And then finally the Hull or Doro, the most recent world, is definitely the best world to be opening in right now if you can afford it. because not only do you have access to the new divine Gilgamesh, or you have the ability to open Gilgamesh, you also can still open Endeavor, you can still open Redbat and Mewtwo and the other divines. So Dorohedoro, or the Hole, is definitely a great world to open in if you have the multi-open stars or the yen to actually sustain opening there. And then finally, we actually have worlds 26 to 30. Now, these worlds are unknown, but because the luck scaling has pretty much been the same each world for the past 10 worlds, we can pretty much assume that the next 5 worlds are going to be the same as well. If they do change, I will obviously do an updated video to let everyone know, but this is kind of what I would predict as the opening rates for secrets in the next 5 worlds, and that will also kind of future-proof the secret charts. It will kind of future-proof those so that I don't have to make a video on this every single update. But yeah, hopefully this helps. It gives you guys an idea of how many stars you're actually going to have to be opening to get a secret fighter. Like I said earlier, I would recommend pushing to the highest world. So push to Dorohedoro, push to the Hole, start pushing a level a unit. If you didn't watch my last video on how to power level a unit, level up some units so that you can get some high max level units and start to farm some yen. And then that's when you can start worrying about, okay, do I want to go back and open an Icy Waste or Flame City, or which world do I want to go back for and look for a particular secret or divine fighter. But until you initially push up to the higher worlds and get some XP into a unit and get like a max level unit or two, it's not really worth opening millions of stars to look for a secret. But anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, or you can join our Discord server at discord.gg/oTradeMark. But that's it for me. Malo Alpito. Thanks for watching, and peace. I'm out of here.